Good evening and welcome to another ESEA European Invite League match. I am Richard Lewis, the editor of cadred.org, recovering from New Year's celebrations still, which seem to have been very prolonged. So to everyone out there, a happy 2013, and wasn't 2012 just awesome. Joining me is going to be Josh Steele and Nissan, a reputed good player, although his comments certainly as the colourcaster wouldn't verify that. He didn't even know who some of these teams were. But Josh, I'm glad that you're with me this evening, and I trust that you've had a good 2013 so far.
I have had an excellent 2013 so far. Thanks for throwing me under the bus. I really appreciate it.
Well, you know, it needs to be done because let's be frank. So far, I'm up on predictions, aren't I? I mean,
I think so.
Yeah, and thanks to one of these teams as well, who you said some very unkind things about last time. That's Curse the Finns, and they're going to be taking on the Danish side of Anexis. We'll go into what's been going on with the Danish team in a moment, but I think first let's talk a little bit about Curse. We saw them beat Absolute Legends quite comfortably in the end, and you were tipping the Swedes of Absolute Legends to beat them last time out. Have you changed your mind? Are you impressed with the Finns now, or do you think that was kind of a one-off fluke?
I actually am quite impressed. They actually had some decent results recently as well against NIP, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, am I right?
Yep, you are right. Yeah.
Nice. I'm so good.
Yeah, see, that research that Natu was telling you to do, you've obviously right?
Yeah, I know. He's kind of put me in my place a little bit, but at the same time, I know they're not playing at the moment, but Absolute Legends, they haven't been doing too well recently.
No, they've had a little dip, but you know, I mean, they have made some roster changes and stuff, but I don't want to get waylaid talking about them. So, Kurt, tell me what you liked about them. Where did they challenge your preconceptions in the last game?
Just about everywhere. Their individual skill as well as their teamwork, as far as just in-game goes, but just how they're pulling together as a team and really securing themselves a top 4 spot this season is really impressive.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, what I like about them is just that they've got this kind of, I don't know, it's almost like a psychic understanding, like that creepy thing that twins have, you know, like they just, when it comes to a rotate, they know where to be, they read the momentum of the game so well, and they know how to kind of get to choke points just at the right time to kind of mop up the kills, and I guess that comes with experience, and that's something that's going to translate in, you know, 1.6, their background, as well as CSGO, CSS, any iteration of Counter-Strike. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Individually, their aim is nice, crisp. They seem to be very good at making entry frags with an AWP. They're very good at making those headshots with rifles and getting cluster kills. So I mean, I've been really impressed with them so far, and I think there's they're a good outside bet to get to the ESEA LAN. Certainly, if you wanted to have a flutter on it, if such a thing existed, and I know obviously we don't have that facility, but let's speculate wildly anyway. That you'd get pretty good odds, I think, but they would be a solid bet for me.
You were also just talking about roster changes with Absolute Legends, and Nexus has been through a few recently as well.
Yeah, that's a good segue, Josh. It's you're learning. This
I know. It's amazing. It's incredible.
Smooth.
2013.
Smooth.
It's a new year. I'm a new me. I've been reborn.
Excellent. Right, so yeah, absolutely right. Anexis have gone through some roster changes, and it was really sad because like I spent so much of my career talking about how making fun of Rugger, their captain, and saying how he was cursed and he was never going to finish above 7 to 8 at lands and all of these things. But in reality, he was a really, really good captain. He was the glue for me that held a very young team together. With big egos, a lot of them certainly have big egos, big talent as well. But and then they go and they had a not so great performance at NorthCon, which is where I actually wrote a wonderful article about Rugger, saying how good he was and how he was a great in-game leader. And they then decided to kick him in one of the worst backstabs of all time. And of course they bring in well, they had a Colon who was the stand-in at that event, and then they bring in Nico and Glaive, who you know, were left over from Copenhagen Wolves. Fantastically talented players. Definitely can wax lyrical about all of them. Played in a team myself with Nico, so I know all about his ability, and he is absolutely one of the best AWPers in Europe on his day when he wants to take the game seriously. So Anexis have probably increased their talent pool, but what I'm worried about is balance, because I look at that side. We all know Glaive can be hot-headed. This is the guy who at Copenhagen Games, before the LAN had even finished, was going public about how Team Alternate, who of course had made it to the final, were somehow using an elaborate LAN cheat, perhaps on their mobile phone or something. You know, he was busting out all the conspiracy theories, so he can be a little bit hot-headed. Nico certainly can. Pimp certainly can, MSL certainly can, and Nilla, you know, he can as well. So I don't know, when the going gets tough, who you're going to turn to in that team to kind of level and calm all of those heads. I mean, that's my take on it. I don't know if you've got any insight, having played against them.
Well, I haven't played against this lineup of Anexis, but I did play against the one with Cajun B, which is another question I had for you, being as you are the European-based person. How do you think Anexis is now that Cajun's in the army and he's no longer playing with them? Do you think that...
Look, I don't think Anexis and Cajun were ever a good fit anyway, and I think he was just there for something to do. I don't think he liked it. Look, the Danish army is not like... I don't know, say for example, to use something like that, the Israeli army. I'm sure you can give me some insight into that. But it's not, you don't go away for a few years. You're not on lockdown. Basically, you have a very intense training period that lasts something like, I don't know, 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. And you basically, after that point, you can come and go as you please. So the idea that it was going to hamper him being in a team, most people in Europe and most people in the Danish scene pretty much say it was a convenient excuse because he really didn't want to play with those players. And I am hearing rumours that the old CKRAS lineup are going to come back soon with Cage and with Fetish, you know.
The one from ESWC 2011?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which again, I was surprised that Nico jumped into Anexis, because I thought he probably would have wanted to hang around and maybe play with those guys. But and who's to say that won't happen? Because one thing you can say about the Danish scene is that, you know, it chops and changes. You know, it is very, very unstable, and people are always looking at kind of, you know, better deal whatever team they're in. And that's why historically, outside of the Imperial stroke Sikeras, Denmark have never had a team that's really stuck together. I mean, not for years. I guess if you want to go right back, you can talk about the original Real Life Rejects and Rockat guys in like 2005, 2006. They were together for a while. You know, your Incray and ESEA and those guys. But really, the Danish scene since then has been just massively unstable. And, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, Cajun, fantastically talented player. I love Rene. I think he's got a great attitude. I think he's got, you know, great ability. But I just don't think he ever really felt like he belonged to, as part of the Anexis line.
Okay, cool. Well, we're still waiting for the last player to join up, but I think there is still time for predictions to go.
Well, let's do yours first, because I've just waffled on about some inane fucking gibberish for like, you know, about half an hour or something. So, you're the expert. You play against these people. You said Curse were going to lose to Absolute Legends. I'm going to lose to Anexis.
You gotta put me on the spot like that. I think that Curse will be able to pull this through, but given that this map is Dust 1 and it hasn't been played in like an actual serious tournament for, I don't even, since before I started even playing the game.
On the map as well before we go live, but I don't know if we're gonna have time. But okay, so
I'm just gonna say it's gonna go in favor of Curse, and it's gonna be 16 to 12.
Okay, I like it. I guess that means I'm gonna have to go the opposite way, because otherwise it wouldn't be interesting. I think Anexis is gonna take this just on aim. I think that, look, tactics on Dust, Jesus. I mean, are there any? Like, I mean, I don't even know. They are allowed to use Molotovs, aren't they, in this league?
Yeah, Molotovs are allowed, but the other thing you have to keep in mind is that this isn't actually Dust 1. This is Valve's version of Dust. They included the bridge across the sniper's nest. They included the stairs from underground. Like,
so you can still shut down a terrorist rush with one Molotov. Simple. I mean, You know, I just think it's going to come down to who's going to hit their shots. And even though I've talked up Curse and how good they've been, I just think Anexis have got that kind of younger team with the kind of faster reactions, and I just feel that they're going to edge it today. So I'm going to probably take them 16-13. And I think the score will be that close because of the inherent nature of the map. Just a question, because you're the guy to ask these kind of questions too. Why are ESEA including these maps? I mean, is this to give them a shot in the arm and include them as part of this new wonderful fresh start that Valve were wanting with CS:GO?
No, it's nothing like that. So I've had several arguments with the ESEA regarding the matter, and the way it's been explained to me is that they want to have an 8-week online season with 8 different maps. And that's the sole reason why they have maps like Dust 1, and they had Aztec last season. They had, they're implementing Cache, they're putting in Mill. That's the only reason why these maps are in place, just because there's not enough big enough map pool. There's no Tuscan yet, there's no season yet. Well, arguably there is, but the ESA says there isn't, and that's why we have the inclusion of these new maps.
Okay, well, thanks for shedding light on that, because I did find it was a bit of an odd choice, and certainly I think we've got Cache coming later on in the season as well, which I don't know how I feel about that. But anyway, we are about to go live, and Anexis is going to be on the CT side, and Curse are going to be, therefore, on the terrorist side. And we can see we've got some early nades kind of about to come in, although actually, no, they're holding back on him. Nilla's got his nade out. You can see Curse are all grouped up. They haven't gone for a fast push onto A, which is kind of one of the preferred tactics, but as we've talked about, with nades and with Molotovs, it's quite easy to shut that down. So there is a slight exchange. You can also see a decoy's been thrown. I'm not too sure how I feel about that as well, but Curse are just all grouped up in that A kind of storage area. And we're getting closer. Nilla's going to make first contact here, and they lined up for him to do a lot of damage there. He gets the first kill on Reflex and has to drop back. Nico's going to weigh in with another kill, just peeking through that hall. MSL's going to get another one. Alu is going to answer back, but it's looking like absolute butchery there. They're just getting chopped down, and Alu's going to be the last man for Cursed. So quickly have a look on what he's going to do. He's got to... I mean, they're all quite low in Nexus. If he can make the shots, it's not out of the realms of possibility that he could clutch this, but he's going to have to go some, and that headshot's taking him down to 18 HP. So things looking even more difficult. He's looking left and right. He's not going to pick up the bomb just yet, but I think he's going to get peeked as soon as he makes any positive moves towards it. And there you go. Nilla's going to get the final headshot. That is going to be the pistol round for Anexis. Josh, while the 2 eco rounds are coming in, I reckon these will be over pretty quickly. There was a lack of kind of... I know, there was no real tactic there from Curse. They didn't seem to know what to do. Was that a map factor, or what was going on there?
It's a factor of multiple things, but when you were talking about just Molotovs shutting down choke points and rushes in the pregame, the same thing can be said for grenades on pistol round, just because the grenades deal such massive amount of damage, like 90 damage, the grenades even. So I think what Curse was trying to do there was just bait out all the grenades, make sure that they didn't get completely demolished in one go, and then try to bait out some nades with decoy grenades and then go somewhere together as a team. And Anexis just had a nice crossfire setup going down, even to the last wire when it was a 3 versus 1 in the end.
Yeah.
They had perfect crossfires with each other, so if you want to kill one at one angle, his teammate's right there to shoot you in the back. So, well played by Anexis on the pistol round. And it's going to be maybe a little bit of a struggle for Curse to pick up these few rounds on their terrorist side, but we see them full saving here, I think.
Yeah,
no,
I think Alu, because he got a couple of kills, I think he's gone for that Deagle vibe, but again, it is just going to be a full save. But incredibly, just by pushing under the bridge, Reflex has come up and got 2 frags, and you can see that Azlak's just jumping across there. Glade's going to pick up a rifle kill. Alu's going to put that Deagle we talked about to work. Nico's going to answer back immediately, but Azlak has managed to get a kill, and he's going to pick up a rifle. So things are looking very bad here for Anexis. Curse haven't got carried away with themselves. They're now in a 3v1 situation. Nico with it all to do. He's got the Bison there, so he's getting peppered now every time he peeks, and of course that's not a particularly great long-range weapon. You would prefer to FAMAS. He hasn't seen that there's a member of Curse in that smoke behind him, so I'm guessing it's going to be over for him as soon as that smoke clears. He's going super aggressive. He's going to get taken down by Reflex from behind, and Curse there, just by going kind of aggressive on the underpass and across that kind of raised bridge area, they really managed to catch Anexis by surprise. So again, full eco, which they managed to turn into a win. Was that Anexis playing poorly there, Josh, or was that Curse just really outbrained them?
I know I've said this a lot with you, but that was a little bit of both, actually. In Nexus, we saw that they gave up the first kill in Underground, and that was the problem. That was the main problem, losing that player, losing the map position, and losing the FAMAS. And then, kind of just one by one, they traded down kills, which was really good from Curse, and also made me bite my words, as I just said, that they're going to struggle to pick up a few rounds here, and then they just won that round. Right after I said that.
I think it was real poor play, and you can see that they're trying to do something kind of clever here on this eco round, but it's not working out for them. It just seemed to be that they were probably expecting Curse to be a little bit directionless, to lack that purpose, to kind of group up and see who picked first, but they actually had targeted who they wanted to take down, what weapon they wanted to secure, and they managed to do it. So while that's been going on, Nico and Nilla have answered back, so it is a, well, it was briefly a 2v3 situation, now it's a 1v3 situation. Nico's going to get one though, so they're both on about half health there for Curse. Nico has the health advantage, and they're going to know where he is. He's just having a little look around. If he can get this next kill, doesn't know. Aslax there manages to put that M4 to work to tie it up at 2-all. And we'll just have a quick look at the frag chart, see who's been doing work. Glaive is top with 4 kills and 4 deaths, and Reflex is top for Curse with 5 kills and 3 deaths. So we're going to go into this next decisive round. I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen, and you can see that Anexis have bought weapons. There's a couple of FAMASes there, I think. So we'll carry on. We'll go straight into the next play-by-play without looking at any analysis. You can see Glaive's going to get in a long smoke there. Just kind of smoke off the choke points to prevent Curse from peeking. And it's a similar start to this round. They're not really going too aggressive. Nico's dropped right back onto B bomb site with an AWP, and that's a very passive position, which might come into play if they do decide to go to a bomb site, because he's going to have to rotate at quite some distance. In the meantime, Curse have made their way on the underpass. They're getting some smokes and nades into that bridge area, so they're just managing to kind of shut them out and prevent them making any long-range kills, which is very smart play from Curse. Reflex has been taken down at 5 HP, and Alu not far behind him, but Alu's going to get the first kill on Glaive. MSL's going to get a trade kill on Natu, but Aslak's going to answer back immediately, and you can see that they're absolutely chopping down Anexis now as they manage to make their way onto that A bomb site. It's Pimp with it all to do. Curse, though, are in a very, very, very good crossfire. Pimp does have 100 HP, but deciding he's not going to go for it. He's going to drop back onto B, put down a smoke, and they're going to come hunting him. They're not going to let him save that rifle. So bomb is ticking away, and you can see that if Pimp, oh well, he's gone into the spray. He's going to get a nade out. It's an awful, awful exchange here, but yeah, they are going to be able to hunt him down, and that was some bad shooting on both sides. That's going to give Curse the lead. That's going to give them 3 rounds, and that was, of course, a full buy for Anexis. So that's going to impact on this round here, Josh. So how do you see this landscape kind of working out at the moment? Because Anexis there, they bought, it looked like things were going to go well for them, but in the end, Curse again managed to just have that penetration, get onto the bomb site they wanted, and isolate the Danish team.
Well, we saw just like a complete backwards of how they've been playing the gun rounds as opposed to how they played their pistol round. Their pistol round, they were playing crossfires with each other. Now they're playing like separated one-on-ones, a bunch of one-on-ones, and they keep losing players just in isolated positions. So this is not good for Nexus, and they need to start playing as a team. But if they lose, well, they're probably going to lose this round, even though they're a man up. They probably will lose it. And if they lose the following, well, I'm just going to stop.
Yeah, maybe you need to, because actually, with 2 kills down, Anexis have got the numerical advantage here. And if they can maybe get the next kill, which they haven't done, so it is tied up for a 3v3. But that's a ridiculous jumping headshot there from Glaive. He's going to get an AK. He should have stayed focused, though. He got took down as he rushed for it. And it's going to be very hard now, I think, for Nilla and MSL to turn it around. But they have put it into a 2v2. Reflex is holding this angle by this big box, so he suspects that Nilla might be there. Yeah, he does get him. And now it's all on MSL. It was a promising position briefly for Anexis, but I think MSL might be looking to just get a gun. If he can, he can see the AK from one of the fallen terrorists. He's going to pick that up and just start looking into the A-bomb site. See if he can get a long-range headshot. And if he can, that'll make it a 1v1, but hasn't really been able to do it. Didn't even do any damage. So Reflex and Skirk are both on 100 HP. MSL on 32. Again, he's just kind of looking through the gap in the door to see if he's going to get lucky, but he's not. They're not going to present him with anything. And that means he's going to fall right back into this spawn area and save. So, Josh, you may finish your point now.
Well, I was getting lost on off topic there anyways, but I just wanted to touch base on this round. Even though it was a 2 versus 2 against an eco round, we could see the teamwork from Curse. They knew that the player was behind the box, but instead of just charging at him right away and spamming the box or whatever, and giving up their position, giving up, you know, just basically saying, hey, we know you're here, they walked together, they smoked off the right, then they cleared the left, they killed the player behind the box, and they took it together. So that's just a testament to their teamwork. And even though that it's against an eco round and they could have just run up and killed the guy, they played it safe and they played it by the book, which is something that you don't see by many teams these days. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I don't know, at the moment, it just kind of feels that the worrying thing for me is this map is so inherently biased. I don't care if it's like Valve's new version of Dust or whatever. Dust is and has to be a CT map. It's one of those maps where, realistically, if you get 5 rounds on this, you've had a hell of a T-half, and already Curse have got 4. Anexis have certainly found themselves caught out, and I think what they're doing is they're spreading out across the map too much. They're certainly giving away this underpass area, which has happened again. Curse have just made their way up, and it's almost like they're playing too passive, almost as if they're afraid to peek, which is insane given the talent they have on the roster. And you can see right now that Anexis know that Curse are outside of this bomb site. They've got 3 people on there, but it's going to be a 5v3. Nilla, well, he got so lucky there. He was low, but they managed to get 2 kills. Pimp's going to get another, and somehow that promising position that Curse was in, it's just gone all Pete Tong for them. And Anexis have managed to keep all 5. Nilla on 7 HP, managed to survive. So Alu's just going to go and do some damage. Does get a nice little headshot there, but Nilla hadn't moved. Gets 3 kills and survives on 7 HP. So they're going to pull around back. Just as I was saying that maybe they were being too passive, it was actually their passivity, to use a word that's probably made up, that worked for them. So
Stephen Colbert makes up words all the time. And actually, I wanted to cut you off when you were talking about that, but at the same time, I kind of wanted you to feel a little bit like an idiot, because playing sites passively is absolutely just amazing on that. That's what I feel is really strong, just playing the sites, playing 2 and B and 3 and A. And that's kind of what Anexis did on their pistol round as well. And just how Curse ran into the crossfire setup. One guy next to the doors, one guy in the site, and it's just too many angles for Curse to clear out if you don't have any like set strats in this game, and you don't have it on this map because this is not a common map.
Well, for the first time we see Alu making an off entry pick there, so he's took down MSL, giving Curse numerical advantage, and you can see they're in this familiar position. They know that underpass is going to be nice and easy for them. Pimp's going to get a nice little kill there on Natu, so that's going to level things up 4v4, but that was a great shot from Skirk there. Pimp's going to get another. Reflex and Pimp are going at it, but Pimp's going to win that duel as well, so that's 3 so far for him. Skirk's going to blind spray just at someone he doesn't even know what's going on. Chance he could have been knifed there by Glaive, but I think he took mercy on him and took him down with a pistol. Alu is now trying to use some close range AWPing skills in this 1v3 situation. Don't think it's going to quite work out for him, but that's a great little reaction shot. All of a sudden you can see Pimp all the way at the back of CT spawn. Nilla very close, doors on a bomb site, so depending on where he decides to go, this round could have 2 very different outcomes. Alu's going to get this bomb uncontested. Now the question is, Does he go for the... Yeah, he's only got 8 seconds, so he's going to have to go for this plant, but he is going to get it. And you can see now that they're converging. This is good communications from Anexis. They're going to just basically go at the same time, but Ali's going to get one, doesn't get the second. But it was squeaky bum time there, and in the end, Nilla holds his nerve, and that's going to tie it up at 4-all. And just before we go into some analysis for the next eco round that's coming in, I am being told, Josh, that we're getting a bit of chop on the stream. People are complaining about it being laggy, so I don't know if there's anything you can do with a wave of your magic fingers.
Oh, I could try closing Skype, I suppose. But other than that, I'll close down Google Chrome as well, and I hope that fixes it. But very well played by Alu in that 1 versus 3. But as I was talking about Anexis just playing in their more condensed, I guess, site setups, crossfires like they did on the piss round, that's been picking up rounds for them here. And now that we see that they're playing a little bit more aggressively in the courtyard, I'm just going to call it courtyard, I don't know what it's actually called, we see them dying early. And 1 by 1 as well, and this is giving Curse another round, which shouldn't be happening. Oh shit, why am I closing Skype? Oh, well, that was a bit silly of me, wasn't it? If I close Skype, then I can't hear him, obviously, so he's gonna have to give me 1 second, because that was a bit silly. So I'm just gonna have to talk about this by myself until I get Gonzo back on the line, because I'm an idiot. I'm gonna call him right now. So note to self: don't close Skype in the middle of a cast.
Yeah, well, we were using Skype, Josh.
Yeah, I know. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, that was...
I usually play with TeamSpeak. The good thing is that I was talking this entire time, and then when I wanted to pass it off to you, there was this dead silence. I'm like, wait a minute. There's not supposed to be
I can't
silence.
even believe you've just done this. It's like...
I actually just closed Skype in the middle of a cast.
Yeah, well, you know, it's... Here we are, we were, like, talking to, like, the guys at ESEA as well, about how, like, oh, it's going to be, you know, all smooth sailing from this point onwards, you know, we're going to get everything right, we're going to do this, and then you've actually just turned off our method of casting in the middle of a cast, so that's awesome. But, yeah, just to, when you guys do catch up on the chat, do tell Steel what an idiot he was for doing that.
No.
But we're now at 5-4, so Curse have took the lead again and did so in fine fashion. You would have heard some play-by-play if I was able to do it, but for some reason I couldn't. And Anexis are going to be on an eco round, an eco and some sort of automatic shotgun buy for MSL, which is interesting. But Alu's going to get that first kill there, nade kill, and then a second. That's a great little adjustment of the rifle as he does that. Natu's going to get the third. And again, Curse are just really moving into this kind of bridge and overpass area at will. And I'm surprised, Josh, that Anexis haven't identified that and maybe started playing someone more aggressive, looking into that overpass area, like someone like Nico, who we know can use an AWP and might be able to have some form of impact and prevent them from, you know, having that penetration on the map.
Well, as I was saying when I shut down Skype and closed the call, is that Anexis, when they're playing aggressively in courtyard, and just like playing 1 versus 1s, they are losing the aim battles most of the time. What they do need to do is keep playing their crossfire setups passively in the site that we saw them picking up a few rounds with.
Well, I mean, and while that's happening as well, it looks like they've been forced into yet another eco round. But wow, from Anexis there, MSL got that AK and really put it to good use. So they've completely annihilated Curse, and they actually ran to the part of the map where they've been converging round after round after round. So they have read that situation excellently. And it looks like we're going to see yet another eco round, although I won't rule out a ridiculous clutch from Natu, but the crossfire Anexis have here that he's about to walk into is absolutely brutal. There's no oh, he's got one great reaction headshot, but doesn't get the next, and that's going to make it 6-5. We'll have a quick look at the frag charts before we continue. Nilla is at the top for Anexis with 7 kills and 7 deaths, and Alu has been really doing some great work, some great entry picks from him, 13 kills and 7 deaths. So what we're going to do is just to let the people know who are still saying there's a bit of a lag. We will switch at half-time to a different form of casting in case it is the Skype that we're using to do it. No. If there is lag, we apologise. Certainly, I'm actually not getting any when I'm dropping it down to 360. No, that might not be great for you guys, but just bear with us. We will fix it at half-time, I'm sure. But now, Anexis are on a full buy now. And Nico with that AWP again, and you can see what I'm talking about here is, and I want you to make a cliff note of this, Josh, for discussion later. Nico, such a great impact player, tucked all the way at the back of B bomb site. Just feels like a waste to me, but anyway, and they've not really gone there quite so often, and by the time they have, it's usually been damage done. So it just seems like such a waste to play him there. But anyway, I won't labour the point. We've had some little exchanges there. Glaive's down about half HP. Curse is on 66. He's got 2/3. But Alu again, great AWP shot from him. He's really playing well at the moment. And now with the position that they're in, you can see that they are going to run. They've decided to go to B bomb site. So are we going to get what we wanted? And that is some sort of butchery on B. But no, they managed to plant the bomb. MSL's going to get a face full of flash there. You can see that he's blinded. Natu's holding the close angle, just going for a little reload. But Anexis, of course, do have the numerical advantage, or did, until Skirk takes down MSL with a long-range shot. Natu's playing it close. Great little peek from him. He's going to get a headshot, so it's now a 2v1 situation. But Nilla has just come up clutch and probably shouldn't have. No, should have made that kill really, but he is going to get the defuse, just enough time to do it, and that's going to make it 6-all. So again, that was a real good clutch, but I felt like Curse threw that round away. So again, let's talk a little bit about the impact of Nico at the back of B bomb site. Josh, is that a waste for a player of his talent?
No, it's not. And I was talking about just the passive setups. It's fine for them to do the passive setup. We saw Curse, by the time they got into the site and planted the bomb, they only had 2 members left. And that's with Nico dying without getting a kill. He got his head taken off by, I think it was Alu, just completely annihilated his face. So it's fine for him to maybe do a little aggressive at the start, but playing full passive, absolutely fine.
Well, I disagree. I feel like if Nico was to go underpass right now, he'd be cleaning up. He'd be sat on about 30 frags. And Curse would really be demoralised and wondering how on earth they're going to win this game. While I'm saying that, Nico does pick up a kill on Skirk, but you can see, just by looking at the map, that Curse, they've actually got onto B bomb site and decided, you know what, sack it. We'll drop back, we'll see what happens. And they're now back in that underpass area. They're coming up. And they're going to go the long way now, but that's given MSL an opportunity to take down Alu, which he has done, so perhaps a little bit of overconfidence in Curse's play, although they had to kind of drop back because of where Nico was situated on that occasion. While this is happening, though, they are going to get a plant on A, and now the onus is on Anexis to move out. They're going to smoke out Natu, who's only on 24 HP. They're going to go fast, and MSL's going to get the kill on Azlak. So now, oh, well, that's a huge shot as well there from Nico. They are going to get this defuse, and that is going to put them back in the lead for the first time in what feels like quite a while, 7-6. So, well...
I just want to point out, at the end of that round, Anexis had a combined 6 HP.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was weird. Natu seemed to run away from that smoke, and I just feel that if he'd been a little bit more bold and maybe pushed through it, Curse would have took that round. So, I don't know, perhaps it was a case of being a bit too passive there, and I'm not going to be overly critical. So, of course, with the situation we're looking at, I'm just having a look here. Curse did buy, so they've certainly got enough money in the bank with the rounds that they've won. And MSL is kind of gone aggressive into that overpass area. Isn't going to get the kill, though. Natu's going to get it, but Pimp's going to pick up one. Then Nico's going to pick up another. Glaive's going to pick up another. Nilla's going to pick up another. And Skirk's going to be the last man standing for Curse. And that, I feel, is the strength of... If they just converge into that part of the map, I just feel it shuts down anything Curse are going to do tactically. And while Nico mops up with that pistol kill to take it to 8-6... That is pretty much what I would have been doing a lot earlier, and I think they would have conceded a lot less rounds. Obviously, we're going to try and fix the lag at half-time. So, Josh, I'm not going to go to you while I cast this last round, and be having to think about what you can do with your technical know-how, because I know people are all psyched about watching RPK's last match in Very Games colours. So to speak, after this, he's announced his retirement, and it will be his last game tonight against Virtus Pro. We are going to cast that, so just to let people know who've been asking. But first things first, let's see if it can be a 9-6 comeback for Anexis. And at one point, things were looking pretty bleak, so that wouldn't be that bad at all. They were 4-2 down. But once again, Curse have just got into that underpass area, uncontested. Anexis playing very passive, not peeking. You can see Skirk able to just kind of jump up, and he's pushing through that smoke. He is blind from the flash, so an indication that they probably know he's there. They are going to get a flash going over. Pimp's playing it close, so you can see that they are just going to bum rush him now. And Pimp's going to get the first kill. That's going to reveal his position. Skirk's just shooting at his toes, hasn't got a kill. Pimp's just pulled his pistol out and got a second one, and in the end it's Azrak got to get it. While that's happening, no, he just pulled off an absolutely insane double headshot before being taken down by Glaive. And Nico's going to make his AWP sync from the back of that B bomb site. Skirk's going to pick up another kill, and it's now a tense 1v1 situation. Nico all the way in CT spawn with an AWP. He's there like a German playing MR12. It's horrible to think of him there rather than being aggressive when you know how well he can play. Skirk's only got 32 HP, so he's going to have a little roam around, and in the end falls right into the trap. Nico's going to get the kill. That's going to make it 9-6 for Anexis, and I guess we're going to take a quick break while we try and fix the stream, so just bear with us 1 second. Okay, so we have restarted the stream, and that should fix all the problems. We're hopeful about that, and again, we apologise if the first kind of third of the match was unwatchable. Sorry about that, but it's fixed now. Let's not dwell on that, though. Let's look at the positives, which are we've got a great tense match here. 9-6 to Anexis. Curse starting out strong, but then Anexis really finding the measure of them, and we've gone at this pistol round here, and you can see that Anexis, they look to be a little bit more spread out than their Finnish counterparts were in the first half, and we've got a nice little entry frag there from Glaive. Alu's going to answer back, take down MSL, and then his nade is going to find another Anexis player, so he's going to take out Pimp. Nico's very low as well, so things looking good so far for Curse, although that can change. And we've got some trades. Nilla getting absolutely slaughtered there. He's down to 40 HP, but Alu's only on 4, so they're just having a look. But I think as soon as they do make a push here in Anexis, they're going to get chopped down. Just trading the bomb out there. Nilla in the tunnels, so he's going to be the man. He's got the most HP. Minute he peeks, he gets his head ripped off by Reflex. So that's going to force Anexis to now have to kind of push onto this A bomb site. They're double facing, they're not really doing a lot of damage, and in the end Natu's going to get a kill. Nico's got nowhere to go. Alu's going to mop up for a nice little 3-man in the pistol round. That's going to give it to Curse, and that should see it tie up at 9-9. And it was something similar there, Josh, to what we saw in the first half. Anexis, they made that entry frag, but then they really didn't know what to do. It was just almost, again, if there wasn't any kind of tactical nous on their part.
Well, we did see that, but we also saw Curse playing a little bit aggressively like you wanted to see from Anexis all throughout the first half. And it actually paid out for Curse because they did win their 1-versus-1 battles, and we saw Anexis at really low HP. Oh my god, Nade just did 80 damage to 3 people. But anyways, as I was saying before this just absolute obliteration occurred, is that basically Anexis, they were all really low HP because they pushed out early and they got naded on the pistol round. They got in a lot of gunfights and they basically got dropped. And yeah. I think that was the main difference. That Curse, on their terrorist pistol, they waited. They waited back for the grenades, they threw their decoys, they baited everything out, and then they went into their battles. And even though they still lost, I think that was the main difference early on in the round.
Do you think that Curse will play the CT setup once we actually get to the buy round? for Anexis. Do you think they'll play it more aggressively based on what we saw, what they were doing with their T kind of strats? Will they look to kind of mirror what they were doing and shut down any Anexis pushes?
Absolutely. I think what we're seeing them doing right now and on their pistol is what we're going to see them doing throughout the entire half. So we're going to see a person at Sniper's Nest and a teammate right next to him, another teammate in Courtyard, and basically 2 or 3 people just fighting with Anexis all at the same time and not really giving up any map control at all, keeping Anexis in the choke points at short stairs, short tunnels, underground, like not letting them advance at all.
Well, let's see how it pans out. We are at the predicted 9 rounds to 9, so everything to play for here. Anexis are on a full buy. They had a couple of full ecos, so they are going to get an AWP. I do recommend you pay attention to Nico, because for me, he's the guy who's going to make the entry picks and make the difference in this game. Curse, though, let's see what they're doing as CT as well. You know, they don't seem to be doing anything too aggressive, and I guess then probably wouldn't, because that will play into their into Anexis' hands a little bit. And again, if you are on Nico cam, you can just see him holding this kind of tight angle, just waiting for someone to peek. And there's 2 potential targets here. He's just hiding behind the box, but in the end, no one's decided to do it. But spamming away through the smoke, hasn't hit anyone yet. MSL has taken some damage, but so has Aslak and Natu for Curse. And you can see Nico he's getting spammed. He's not quite sure where from, but in the end, he manages to pull off a great shot there. Just a great reflex shot, funnily enough, on reflex to make the first kill of the half. And that's going to give Anexis the platform on which they can push out. He was a little bit late there. Probably should have made that kill. Glaive won't be happy about that. Aslak managed to just peek and get a flanking kill, so it's going to be 3v3, but while that happens, Nilla's going to get another kill on Natu. Nico playing a little bit, again, kind of passive here. He doesn't seem to be positionally sound. He's spotted an enemy, though, so he should, well, that's a poor miss by his standards. And in the end, Aslak's managed to get a kill on Pimp. Nico's on 10 HP. He's going to get taken down by Aslak again. So Nilla has got 90 HP. He's going to get one. He's going to take down Skirk. Has to do it fast. Doesn't do it. And in the end, the clock has ran down. And that's a terrible way to lose a round. But Nico was bigging him up there, but he missed a couple of easy shots that would have really turned that round on its head.
There was a big miss in the tunnels, but I don't think you understood the importance of that kill. When it was a 2 versus 3, Aslak killed the bomber when he was running to the A bomb site, and once the bomb was on the ground, that's just pretty much game over for Anexis. That was the round just being over, and we just saw Curse. They checked the time, they ran away, and that was actually looking really grim for them until they killed the bomber.
Yeah, the round did seem to turn on its head, and you can see we've got this fast push now, just on the way. They ran through the nades, and Anexis have gone to this A bomb site. They've traded 2 frags apiece. In the end, Reflex, though, has held a great angle there. He's even spraying down his own teammate in the back of the head. He doesn't care. Glaive has managed to pop up with a pistol kill. So, again, last man standing. And in the end, he had a good go, but it wasn't good enough. And that's going to make it 11 rounds to 9. Quick look at the frag charts now in this half. And you can see that Alu's on 9 for 2, so he's carried on where he left off. Fantastic performance from him. Nilla is top with 3 for 4. Nothing really to shout about. And perhaps tellingly, Nico is at the bottom with 1 for 5 for Anexis. So Curse starting to kind of edge away with it now. And again, that aim thing that we were talking about at the start. So far, it's Curse that are really hitting their shots.
But another thing to keep note of is in the last 5 rounds, there's only been 2. This is the second gun round in the last 6 rounds that we're seeing Anexis doing. So a score of 1 to 5 isn't too uncommon to see at this point on such a CT-sided map.
And you can see that Reflex have gone aggressive there, dropping down into that underpass area. Probably not going to do that again because it gives Nilla a nice easy kill, but Nico's already been taken down to 2 HP. So he's effectively out of the game unless he can pull off something pretty spectacular with his AWP. You can see MSL's just spamming away. They have gone aggressive here, which is something that I thought they might do first. They've tried to keep them pushed into the choke point areas like you were talking about in underpass, and that's going to force Nico and Nilla to kind of fall back. Looks like they're now going to try and hit A. Skirk's going to take down Glaive and Nico, who's of course on 2 HP. You could have just blew on him and he would have died, but MSL's going to get that trade kill. He's going to get... oh, that's a fantastic shot from Pimp on R2 to open up this bomb site. So now they have got the ability to get this plant. It is going to happen. Oh, Nilla's going to get another kill there on Ali, who's been the danger man for Curse. Azlak just having a look around to see what his options are before weighing up if he does this suicide dash. He knows that there's one in the tunnels. He's obviously heard him. The angle against him, though, as he peeks, and that's going to be around for Anexis, which is going to take it to 11-10.
And I think by now, we've already seen the benefits and the drawbacks of playing this aggressive style setup that we've been seeing from Curse. That they're playing these 1-versus-1 battles, they're losing players in Underground, and this is before Anexis even has any... before they're near a bomb site, let alone inside of one. And this is what Anexis did well on their counter-terrorist side, how they just played passively in the sites and played the crossfires in the sites. Because when you're playing close up in the choke points, there's only one place for you to hide. And you can get grenade spammed, you can get shot through the walls. So I think Curse, if they want to keep the momentum and keep the round lead, they're going to really need to play more defensively rather than so aggressively at short and Sniper's Nest.
And talking about Sniper's Nest, you can see MSL's just pulled off a great little headshot there on Azlak, and it was overkill really because he was quite low. So Anexis again getting that entry frag, and now what are they going to do with it? Curse, though, have just really started to push towards them rather than away from them, and Reflex has got 2 great kills after Glaive got another one, so that ties that up at a 3v3 situation. Natu just kind of crouched in the smoke. He knows roughly where they are, but he's looking high while they're going low. The smoke's going to clear just in time for him to get a double with that spray, and Nico now is going to be the last man. He's missed another AWP shot. I mean, there's been some criminal misses here for Nico, who was he'd been outspoken about how he didn't like the feel of CSGO. He is going to get one, though. He's going to take down Reflex. Doesn't look behind him. Natu's going to get a 3-man this round. That's going to make it 12-10, and they're going to resume their 2-round advantage at Curse. But I thought Anexis were really going to do something there with that early entry frag, and when Curse kind of started running towards them, I thought maybe we were going to see the game tie up, but that wasn't the case.
Absolutely it wasn't, and we're going to have to see an eco round here by Anexis, and I don't think any of them have opted to buy any grenades or deagles for that matter, so I think they're just throwing away this round, trying to save up for the next round, maybe trying to get a forced bomb plant on the A bomb site just to stack up some money if they could, because we've seen them do this style push a few rounds ago when they ecoed, and they got the 2 entries, and it actually came close into a 1-versus-2, so they're trying the same thing right here, but again, 1-versus-3 situation this time instead of a 1-versus-2, and they will get cleaned up. But having,
as expected,
having full Glocks though, without buying nades, without buying flashes, that's what's going to make the difference, because now we can see the round difference, 13-10. They can't afford to have to save twice because they bought a P250 or deagle or grenades. They need all the rounds they can get, which means they need all the big guns and equipment.
And certainly, I think all players, whatever game you played before, have really struggled adapting to this new, more vicious economic system that is so unforgiving in CS:GO. Like even like as you say, a random deagle purchase can have such a big impact financially in where the game ends up. So they were right to go full Glocks, but as you said, that does give Curse, well, I tell you what, it makes no difference what guns they've got when they're playing like this. Curse absolutely just mowing them down. Nico's had to switch to an AK, again, last man standing. He has made 1 kill, but got it all to do here in this 1v3 situation. Only got 58 HP, just spamming away, and Ali's going to come around with the AWP kill. And that crossfire was executed to absolute perfection to make it 14 rounds to 10. And again, just what I've liked about what Curse have done is that seems to be the part of the map where people are going to go to, that kind of underpass and bridge area. That's the part where people want to control. That's what dictates whether you can go to both sites, kind of like the ramp in Nuke. That's the part of the map that people are gravitating towards. And Curse are just going there, and they are shutting down Anexis. They're preventing them from having that control.
The difference that we saw, though, in this round was that, well, first of all, Alu had an absolutely enormous round there. He just really shut down the Anexis players from coming up the ramp. But when you were talking about holding and covering underground, there's so many places for terrorists to hide behind the cars, behind the rubble, that it just doesn't make sense to hold it in that way. But Alu making 2 huge op plays, picks in that round, which is phenomenal.
Well, while that's been happening, talking about huge, you can see that Glaive has got a deagle kill and Pimp has got 2 kills, but in the end, it's going to come down to a 1v1 situation. Pimp has got 9 HP, Reflex has 100, and has been looking crisp, and you can see from where it is, it's just going to go wrong for Pimp. He was looking in the wrong place at the wrong time, give him absolutely no chance. That's going to make it match point for Curse. Anexis now need all the remaining 5 rounds if they're going to get anything out of this game. I'm just going to stay doing the play-by-play because I've got a feeling that it's going to end rather abruptly. I'm looking at what they're buying. You can see it's a bit of a forced buy. We've got some Galils coming in for Anexis. So they're going to have to do something a little out of the ordinary. What are they going to decide to do? So you can see we've got Nilla and everyone going the underpass. Nico's pulled his deagle out. He's just going to kind of go fast through some smoke, as he even though thinks better of it. Nilla does get that entry frag. And again, it's that underpass area and that bridge area that has proved so crucial in this map. So do pay attention to that, because of course all the week's games are going to be on dust. And they're just going to run up through the smoke now. Anexis, Natu's going to get one, but Nilla's going to get another. Natu and Skirk are going to go in with 2. So these trades not going the way Anexis need them to go. Glaive's going to get a headshot, and then Natu's going to follow up that kill. And now it's all on MSL. I don't think it's going to happen. You can see the team are already saying GG. No faith in their teammates. MSL getting spammed down through the box. Skirk's going to get the last kill, and in the end, 16-10. Your prediction, the most accurate. You did predict Curse. You did say 16 for 12. It's nice to be king, isn't it, Josh?
It's nice to be king. I think we're catching up. What are we at? 1-1 now? 2-2?
Oh, no. I think I was at 2-1. But now I think that makes us 2-all. So yeah.
2-all? Okay. I'm cool with that. I'm down with splitting it right down the center if you want to.
Well, let's just have a little look at the kind of the way that game panned out just before we take a break, before Very Games and Virtus Pro, which is going to be in about an hour, I believe. Right, Curse, they just seemed to have a much more kind of... It was almost as if they had no tactics to begin with, but as they got a feel for the map, they just seemed to read the play better. They seemed to read their opponents better, both offensively and defensively. Would you agree with that summary?
I don't know. I think what it was Anexis, they threw away way too many rounds. They had the upper hand, and then they threw it away. I think Curse... I think they had better composure until the end. They played their clutch situations better. Their 2 versus 2s, their 2 versus 3s. I think that's what made the big difference.
What about Anexis, though? I mean, were there any positives there? I mean, you talk about throwing away rounds. I mean, again, for me, you know, I hate to labour the point, but I think the big difference was just Nico did not look to be at the races. And he's such a big player for any team he plays in. But he missed so many vital shots that in the end he just didn't have the impact on the game you would expect.
When I was talking about throwing away rounds, I'm not saying they're just rushing and dying. I'm saying that when they played their defensive site setup, they won most of their CT rounds, and we saw them going from they won the pistol, but then they lost the next round, which set them back so many rounds. And then we saw them by the end of the half pick up 9 rounds. So that's huge from Anexis to lose the second round and then still get 9 rounds. And that's a testament to how strong their counter-terror side was. But when they did their random like 1 versus 1s, where they lost a player in Underground, where they lost a player in Sniper's Nest, that's where they started losing way too many rounds. And had they not done as many aggressives, the one that they did the fully like full compression thing that you loved, where they pushed short, when they pushed main, when they pushed long, all at the same time. That was great. But when they're playing just 1-versus-1 battles at snipers, that's not good. And they lost at least 3 or 4 rounds by doing that. And that is where the main difference was from Anexis.
In terms of where this puts the sides, I mean, can we start getting carried away about Curse? Because surely the league is now starting to open up a little bit for them. We all expect NIP to make it to the LAN finals, but very games, as we've heard, are going to have some roster changes. Anexis, they've had some roster changes. And, you know, if you look at the teams that are kind of left in the competition at the moment, plus the standings and the results they've already had, you know, you've got... I just feel like there is a realistic chance that you know, ESEA Gaming are probably going to go, but Fnatic, they're kind of out of sorts. I think they're done. They've already lost 2 games. Even with their new kind of roster, I don't think it's going to, you know, work out too well for them. You know, if Curse are beating Anexis, then surely they're going to be in that final 4 that go to the LAN, right?
It looks to be this way. I'm actually pulling up the rankings right now just to clarify and make sure I'm not going to say something silly like I did.
Well, again, you don't want Natu to come after you on Twitter again. That's the last thing any of us want.
That was kind of rough. Actually, I don't think you saw my response to him, but let's just keep it that way.
Yeah, I think it's probably for the best.
What was the prediction we made last time? NIP, ESC, Very Games, and you said Curse?
Well, yeah, I said Curse could well be the 4th, and you scoffed at that. You said I was insane. I said
it's possible for them.
I said it would be between these 2 sides, probably. I mean, for the 4th spot. I know. I mean, like, you can't rule out FM Toxic either, I guess.
Toxic's been looking strong in this league. I think that Curse might take the 4th spot. I'm just gonna throw out that I've been massively disappointed by ESEA. And
the Spaniards.
The Spaniards. They haven't made anything basically since that DreamHack in DreamHack Valencia.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think realistically, what kind of expectations does anyone have of a Spanish team?
That's mean.
No, but it's not being mean. Let's be honest about it. Right, what you have to look at is how technology and infrastructure and sponsorship opportunities kind of dictate success globally in esports. Spain have had a real tough time in the economy and have done for years. I mean, like, you know, they were one of the first countries to really get hit by the wave that went on to become the kind of global recession. And, you know, they've still not fully recovered. They've never had an amazing big esports presence. Certainly, you know, I can think of like Wizards.qpad if I want to go back. And, you know, Spanish players struggle to get to LAN events. They struggle to compete online because Spanish internet is just the worst. It's some of the worst in mainland Europe. It's just awful. You know, you'll see Spanish players connecting to German servers with like 90 ping. So, you know, I don't know why anyone would expect anything from them. I think it's great that they're included. I think it's great that they're competing. I think it's great that, you know, every game they played hasn't been an absolute whitewash, but realistically, I don't know how anyone could say they'd be disappointed, because when I look at the league, I mean, they're rock bottom for me. I don't see who they're going to leapfrog above.
Yeah, I was just pointing out how they had just such an amazing event there, and even Aguila, we were talking about him in a previous cast, just how he's such a strong player, and the team has been able to pull out some amazing results, but just, I guess it was a one-time thing, just a one-hit wonder type of thing.
No, I mean, look, it was on home soil. Like, they definitely had a feel-good factor, you know, and they've got good players. You know, like, there is no doubt about that. But again, what makes players do well in competitive situations, what makes players do well in, you know, when it comes to crunch time, is having the experience of having played these teams regularly, which, you know, we've established they're not really doing that online, and when they are, they're at a disadvantage. I mean, let's not forget as well that the Spanish talent pool for online gaming is going to be massively reduced as a percentage of the population anyway. You know, I just feel like, you know, it's great that they're there, but they're kind of like not a novelty act, but, you know, they're never going to be a great side. And being included in things like this, being included in things like DreamHack Valencia and getting to play against the likes of Very Games and Kick and Nip and teams like that, that's going to make them improve, and being included in this league is going to make them improve. Everyone should get behind ESEA just purely and simply for how it's going to affect the landscape of the European scene, and it's going to be nice to have a Spanish team included, which in Counter-Strike, you know, I mean, you've had one in 1.6, and certainly in CSS, you have to go a long way back before you, and like I say, you're talking about the old Wizards team in like 2005, 2006 again. So I think it's, you know, great that they're there, but you can say you're disappointed. Jesus, that's
Okay,
hard.
I'm sorry. I'm not disappointed. I'm okay. What do you think about Virtus Pro though? Virtus Pro came.
Do you know what?
What?
I've pretty much watched every team in this league play, and I don't know a lot about Virtus Pro. I've seen
SLTV? Did you
yeah,
watch that?
I did, but again, I don't. It's gonna sound awful to say it. I don't really consider that a real LAN.
Even though the production level on that event was actually phenomenal in my opinion.
Yeah, but I was talking about more from
Yeah,
the
I
condition.
I understand the conditions, but I don't know. Like I have mixed views and mixed opinions on these. Like they seem strong, but at the same time they seem very weak, and I'm just so conflicted with how I should think or perceive them as a team.
Well, I don't know. They've definitely got a great roster. I think in terms of the talent that they've got. There's players that, you know, I really rate. Like, I mean, Christ, in terms of experience, you're not really going to find, you know, a lot of players that are playing CS:GO that go way, way back, like Adrian, you know, and Fox as well. I mean, you know, he's another one who's been around for a long time. You know, but certainly Adrian, he goes way back with, what was it, with K23, right? So, you know, that side that they've got there, they've got buckets of experience. They're definitely not on anyone's radar. I don't think anyone's looking at that particular roster, looking at that particular team and thinking, you know what, they're gonna cause upsets. But again, like we've talked about, having that big game experience is invaluable. Being able to be calm, knowing the people around you, you know, having a good relationship, and just being able to kind of communicate, right, look, this is happening, this is bad, but it doesn't have to be this way. We can change it by doing the following, which is, you know, a clear message that often gets muddied when you're in a stressful situation. And you know, I think all the best teams have those kind of experienced players that can just be level-headed about it. Like, there's worse things that can happen to you than losing a game.
Okay, well, let's get back on topic, which was who's going to get the fourth and final spot, right?
Right. Okay. Look.
If you want to do it this way. What?
Yeah. Well, I just look for me, right? If I like, based on what I've seen so far in the league, and let's be honest, we're like 3 games in, so let's not go.
I was gonna come all the way down to FM Toxic versus Curse CS:GO on Inferno, which happens.
Right. Nip are definitely in.
Nip are
right?
definitely in. Yes.
Very Games are definitely in.
Yeah, sure.
ESC Gaming, they've got to go. They have to. They're ESC
Okay.
Gaming.
We can say
right?
definitely in.
So that's 3.
Okay.
So fourth, right now, it probably is between Curse and Toxic, the way the league's panning out.
And you're completely ruling out Virtus Pro.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if that's harsh or not. Look, I mean, look, I might have to eat my words, because in about 50 minutes, we're going to be watching Virtus Pro playing Very Games. So, you know, who knows how that's going to pan out. But I think on that note, I wouldn't want to talk too much about the I don't know, how would you say, is it a Soviet bloc mixed team? Is that okay? I mean, like, I grew up in a time when we still had the fucking USSR, man, so I wouldn't know, like, but anyway, you know, we're gonna have a much better idea of how it's gonna pan out. But the way everything's gone so far, it's gonna have to come down to Curse and Toxic, because Curse have just beaten Anexis, and beaten them comfortably, if we're honest about it. Fnatic could start with the running. I love the guys in End Faculty. They got a great attitude, but they're just not gonna, make
yeah,
great. Absolute Legends are having problems. They've took an absolute dip in form, and
same with
Curse
Mouse.
looks solid, man. They're just beating. They went to overtime with Nip and lost. That's the one game they've lost. That speaks volumes for me.
Okay, fair enough. And we can always see how Vers Pro is later tonight against Very Games in, what is it, 50 minutes from now?
Yeah, 50 minutes, I think. So everyone, right, and I know we've had some stream problems earlier, so I'm just going to say basically, apologies about that. We've not actually done a cast where one thing hasn't gone wrong yet, but we're 3 games in. We've only casted about 5 games, so everything's a wonderful learning curve. But what I want to say to everyone out there is basically just do stay tuned, because look, it's RPK's last game. That's what we're being told. Very Games told me today he's going to play. They haven't announced who his replacement's going to be. It's going to be Scream, but they haven't they haven't announced that it is going to be Scream. It's Scream, but it's Scream. But he's not going to be there. So RPK is going to sign off, hopefully in fine fashion, with this game against Virtus Pro. So do stay tuned for that. I'm going to quickly take a break. Come back in 50 minutes for the main event, Very Games versus Virtus Pro, with me and Josh.